Hey everyone, this is Brian Funk, and I want to tell you what's new for my music production club during the month of March 2021. Baby Audio is giving all members of the Music Production Club their iHeart New York parallel compressor. This is a really cool compressor that adds a lot of character and tonality to your sounds. When I want to add some weight and power to my music, I just grab iHeart New York, drop it on my track, and with the turn of just a few controls, I've got the sound I need, and I still maintain my dynamics. It's great for adding the right color to your sound. iHeart New York is normally $29, but you get it for free with your Music Production Club membership. Also included with your Music Production Club membership this month is the MPC edition of Dank Verb by Perform Module. Dank Verb is a collection of impulse responses that you can drop on your favorite convolution reverb plugin, like Hybrid Reverb in Live 11 or the Convolution Reverb Max for Live device. Impulse responses are really cool because they emulate real-world places in your reverbs and allow you to get the kind of natural reverb of an actual place. Dank Verb is getting gritty, dark, disturbed, scary-sounding reverbs. They're really interesting, lots of character, and they can really change the way your music sounds. I think it's a really cool collection, and it's a great example of what you can do with a convolution reverb. So Dank Verb MPC edition is also included with your membership. If you'd like to get this fun stuff and so much more, head over to brianfunk.com/MPC to join. And check out what Baby Audio has on offer at BABYAUD.io. They've got some really cool stuff, including the awesome Super VHS VCR emulation plugin. And then be sure to check out performmodule.com, where Animus Invidius gives us all kinds of Ableton Live goodies, from free downloads, paid packs, tutorials, lots of great stuff that will up your Ableton Live game. How's it going, everybody? And welcome to the Music Production Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Funk. On today's show, I have Kiana Corley. Kiana is a musician, a songwriter, producer from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, I believe, right? And
yeah, Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Are you there now? Is that where you are?
Yeah, I'm still here right now. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so she's got a new song out called Lukewarm, really nice, kind of like soulful, like I'd say like R&B, but kind of poppy too. Just a great sound, and she's pushing her way through the music industry, and we're going to talk about her music, her songwriting philosophies and techniques, and all that good stuff, and we'll try to learn some new tricks from you, Kiana. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Hopefully I can give you guys new tricks or something.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, you're doing it, right? Like, you've got like this new video out that looks really great, nice production, the song sounds great. And you're building it up on the social medias too. So, you're in the world.
Oh, thank you. I'm definitely trying. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being here. I was wondering if maybe you could just kind of, for the people at home, if you could describe to them what you do, what your music is like, influences, things like that.
So yeah, I think I would describe my music as soulful, pop, kind of more laid back, soulful indie pop. I mean, I'm willing to do just basically anything with the exception of a couple of genres, but yeah, I would definitely just describe it as pretty soulful. And I really, really love artists like Corinne Bailey Rae, Leanne LaHavis. Right now I'm really into like SZA and Tori Kelly also. She's a crazy vocalist. I feel like she's underrated as an artist too. Alessia Cara is also one that I feel like people kind of sleep on songwriting wise. Like, her lyrics are just so smart all the time. And yeah, I really like Chloe and Halle right now. I don't know if I already said that, but yeah.
Nice.
Those are just a couple, and it changes every day, honestly. I discover new people I'm obsessed with every day.
Yeah. Well, there's so much good music out there, right?
Yeah.
The challenge is sifting through it now.
Yeah, no, you're very right. It can get kind of you can be like, oh my gosh, there's so many great artists, like, should I put something out? But, that mentality versus like, um, okay, there's like so many great artists and people have like so many things to listen to. Like we're all just oh my goodness, we're all just contributing to this like just really great like music melting pot. I don't know. I think it's kind of cool.
Mm. I've heard that actually from people, and so I've sometimes like I'll get like an email or something, and the thing they'll raise is like, what's kind of like, what's the point? There's so many people putting out music, and there's so many,
Yeah.
different styles you can never listen to it all. I've found myself going through that a little bit too. Sometimes just asking myself like, I'm gonna spend all this time doing this thing, and for what? There's so much out
Yeah.
there. Um,
Yeah.
so how do you feel about that? How do you get through that? Obviously, you've pushed through that before.
Yeah. I mean, you can definitely like get in your own head about that and like kind of like stunt your career if you're not careful. Um, you know, because yeah, it's true. Like people are putting out things every day. Like every day on Spotify, I there's probably a couple more hundred songs, right? It's crazy. But I mean, there are a lot of people, like a lot more people than people realize that just love music and they love discovering new music and they, sign up to like or they add their, Spotify playlists that have like, oh, discover new artists and like their release radars. Like people genuinely love music.
Mm.
And there's enough people that genuinely love music to just support, I believe, literally everybody's career that really wants to push and do it, Um, like just because somebody like listens to one artist that's like in this giant like database of artists doesn't mean they're only going to listen to that artist. Like
Mm.
they want to discover other artists. Like, it's definitely possible. Like if you have, if you find connections and you like hold on to those connections, and if you like those connections first and foremost, but then if you hold on to those connections and, you just get to meet as many people as possible and you just create as many things as possible too. Like, and I think unfortunately some of it does come down to like resources and stuff. Like I think people that have, the financial access to have good equipment, they tend to have some sort of leg up for the most part. Like I definitely need to work a lot. Like it take a lot of hours to like have the things that I need to do to like make demos in my room and like pay people for like their visuals and their production and stuff like that. So that's another thing. But long story short, I really think it's definitely possible for literally anybody, just as long as they have like the right mindset for it. And you don't need to be famous to be successful.
Mm. Yeah, that's a great point. I think like the older way of thinking is like you need to get the record deal and you need,
Yeah.
to be on whether it was MTV when I was younger and
Oh yeah.
like on the radio and stuff. But there's maybe not as much room for like that kind of mega stardom, but I think there is a wider area for more specific stuff. Like when like I said, when I was growing up, like you kind of had just a few avenues to get music from, like MTV and the radio, and now you can get it anywhere, and you can get music that's like really for you, really
Yeah.
specific to who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're so right. Like even with things like, you know, TikTok like kind of flipped a lot of things on their sides, but especially like the music industry. Um and I think there are some like negative things about it, but like for the most part, I think it's really, really, really dope how the tiniest artists are just blown up by this platform.
Mm.
And, you know, I've discovered so many artists that I'm obsessed with through that app that like had like 30 monthly listeners beforehand and now they like have a solid career just because one video went viral.
Mm.
Um so yeah, like there's just so many artists out there and I think all of them have like a pretty like medium following. They're not household names at all. Like there's so many artists out there that just aren't household names at all, but they're making enough money to support themselves on music alone, because of certain things. Like, not even if not TikTok, just like building themselves up through like social media or just through gigging, pre-COVID.
Right.
And it's like yeah, it's definitely possible to just like make music your entire career and not be like charting.
Mhm. Well,
So
the TikTok phenomenon is very interesting, and I might ask you to help educate me a little bit on it because I'm not. I have one. My 10-year-old niece had me sign up for it because she was doing. And it was a while back. The Renegade dance on there,
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
but I never really got into it. But um, one of the crazy things that happened really recently was Fleetwood Mac's song "Dreams" charted again after like all of these years
Yeah.
through TikTok and viral videos and the kind of like parodies that people made off of it.
That was the weirdest thing. I mean, that was honestly so cool because first of all, that video going viral. Have you seen the video? Like the video that made it viral again?
Yeah, it's like riding the bicycle, right?
Well, yeah, it was this guy that like just he was riding a longboard like down a street, drinking a whole bottle of cranberry juice and just singing along to Dreams, and that was the video. And like it made me happy. It made like millions of people happy. That was all there is to the video, but it was just like, wow, this is just so nice. And it like and it reached the generation that just like hadn't heard that song. And they, re-blew it up and got Fleetwood Mac like to get on TikTok, which was mind-blowing, and it wasn't as mind-blowing, I think, for the people that had just discovered that song and just discovered Fleetwood Mac, like the teenagers. But like, yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, it's funny you say like it made you feel good, and like I don't know that I mean, I don't know the whole backstory, but like I don't know that you can really plan that like riding on like your longboard, drinking a little bit of cranberry juice, listening
Yeah.
to like and would have that kind of impact on people.
The things that tend to go viral are things that people just don't like. And it's kind of cool, but also kind of a little bit sad because like I see these like musicians and screenwriters and like people that just like want to like move forward in their creative outlets, and I see their videos on TikTok and I'm like, wow, you put in hours into this, like so well done. So I saw like this one video where somebody like really worked with like graphic design and like shifting things, and it looked like it was like from a movie trailer. And it didn't really do that well. Like they tend to not do that well versus like somebody falling,
Right.
like somebody just like falls in like a perfect way and it gets like 10 million likes,
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of like, it kind of speaks to like just how like, great simplicity can be. And like just how we really don't need that much to, I guess, like entertain us. But at the same time, it's just so frustrating for people that are trying to just like break into whatever field they're trying to get into, and they're putting all this effort in, and all they need to do is like just fall.
Yeah.
It's like a double-edged sword, I think, for sure.
I've joked around with a couple of my friends before about like you put all this work into your album, your EP or whatever it is, and you're ready to release it, and you put it out there and it's just like crickets, But then you
Yeah.
put a video of like your dog rolling around on his back, and then that's the one that gets all the engagement. It's it is a funny
It's
yeah, I wonder if it it's cool that that's available too, because it is sort of just like a real life thing, and I think that's what it is that people like connect with. But
yeah.
does it take away the motivation to really put out like a finely crafted piece of art too?
Yeah, it's annoying. And like with people's attention spans like getting shorter and shorter, and like songs getting shorter and shorter, like that's what I've noticed. Like all my friends that are trying to break into, like, it's not like I feel like they're making music that like they don't resonate with. Like I still think that they like are putting their heart and soul into things, but like, they're also trying to like follow trends, and I think that's important, but it's just like there's a certain trend of like music getting shorter and shorter.
Yeah.
Like songs are just like, they were under 4 minutes, and now they're like, like, oh, like under 3.5 minutes, and now they're like, most songs are like under 3 minutes. Some are as short as like 2 minutes and like just over 2 minutes. And like, I don't know, I want to listen to more of a song than that. Unless I really don't like the song, then yeah, ended at 2 minutes. But like, if you make a good song, I don't know, like most people aren't gonna get like tired of it if they really, really like music.
Yeah.
That's one trend that I've seen with pop music in particular that like is frustrating.
I think the medium has influenced the length of the pop song, if you want to.
Yeah.
Like radio, you just can't put on a 13-minute song on the radio.
Well, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
And now when you see like formats like Instagram video where it's like a 1-minute thing, like there are people now putting out like 60-second songs.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess like I wonder if like that's one form of listening when you're just kind of scrolling and you're probably just through the speaker on your phone even, you're not really listening. And then like maybe that might be like a more casual person's exposure, but maybe like someone like you, say, or me, who are into the craft of making music, we don't mind sitting down and that's the thing we're doing. We're listening to this track compared to, well, I'm just kind of scrolling my phone waiting online at the pharmacy. So it doesn't really, it's not like your main focus, I guess.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, yeah, because I definitely do that. Like, I definitely do most of my like work or like emails or what have you, with music in the background. But I also find that like if a song that I really really like comes on, like I will not focus on the work. So, I don't know if I can separate my brain from like, I mean, some things I can passively listen to, I guess, but yeah, I found that I can't really passively listen to a lot of songs.
Yeah, I'm like that too a lot. Like I know a lot of people like to have it on when they're studying or reading or things, but my mind tends to just drift towards the music.
Yeah.
Maybe if I'm doing something like, I don't know, cleaning the house or something, then having it on, it doesn't matter because it's not a very like mentally challenging thing. I'm just cleaning the countertop, so
Exactly. Yes.
like having
Exactly.
doing the dishes, like I don't need to think too hard. But if it's anything that requires a little thought, I always find like I can't listen to music because I'll just be listening to music. Something suffers along the way.
Something, yeah. No, I completely agree. Yeah.
Are you using TikTok? So I've checked out like what you're doing on Instagram, and that'd be something fun to talk to too. But I wanted to just ask you a little bit if like your use of TikTok is any different or.
Yeah, my use of TikTok is a little different. I am on TikTok. I need to get better at posting. I've like told myself, okay, like, post more regularly. I wanted to post like once a day, and then like life just kind of got a little crazy, so I stopped doing that. But I still am trying to hold myself to that standard. Yeah, so like on that topic we were talking about, like whenever I like I post things about like upcoming songs or like, for Lukewarm, I was teasing Lukewarm and like showing snippets of like the music video and all that. And like, it's not that it didn't get any attention, but like there was one where I just like showed people like a plant that I got, and like that's like my most popular video.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, yeah.
Well, can you stick your music behind that then? Is that something maybe like a way in, where you can here's this plan I got, but like in the back you got your track playing.
Yeah, no, I definitely need to do more of that, I think. I think that's honestly what I'm going to focus on doing. Like, I'm not going to like really have the whole video be, hi, like, my name's Kiana, listen to my channel. No, I think I'm just going to like do something random and just say the first thing that comes to mind or just whatever, and just conveniently have my songs in the background. Like, I think that's what I'll do because like those are the ones that tend to, I think, do better. But I'm still figuring out TikTok and like what makes people tick and stuff, and like using like viral sounds and stuff, or trying to hop on things before they get viral. Like, it's just like, I think, it's like, your intuition like kind of plays into part of it, and like, I think like the more that you're on certain platforms, and the better you know them. And I think I'm getting better at it now.
Mm. Yeah, I've enjoyed like what you're doing especially when you like have a new idea and you'll start out with like the bass or the guitar and then you'll have like layers of harmonies going. And those videos on Instagram are a lot of fun. Like for me, on like a production method, just to see what you're doing, how you're writing, and also um, the personality still comes out too because it's you in your spot doing your thing.
Oh, thank you. um, yeah, those are really fun to make. So thank you. Yeah, no, I just like yeah. I really really like just like fleshing out ideas and sharing them with people.
Hmm. Well, I think we said this just before we started too. It kind of gets you into like the artist's life a little more
Mhm.
compared to, back in the old days. um,
Yeah.
you didn't get that access. You didn't get to see. You just really got what was in the liner notes, or maybe there was like an article or an interview you saw somewhere, but it wasn't like, here I am in my personal space where I do my most like precious work. Like, welcome.
Yeah, and that's one thing I do love about social media is that like artists are just, they have the choice to still be that way, right? Like Beyonce, for example, like just does not do interviews. Like she is Beyonce and like that's all people really see. And that's I think how she likes it. Um and then there are other artists where like we know basically everything about them, like where they go for coffee, like
Hmm.
who that song was written for or written about. Like I think that's really, really cool, honestly, because it reminds us that like celebrities are humans,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah. Oh my God. I've watched a documentary on Britney Spears recently. Maybe you saw
Yeah.
that.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard, like all the like I guess most dramatic
Is
details
it
of
called
it.
like
And
Free Britney or I don't know
yeah,
if that's what it's called, but it's
that's the
Framing
movement that was
Britney, I
started.
think.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like the thing that I took away from that was like, you know, the media just invaded her life to
Mm.
just unbelievable proportions where I just couldn't believe what people with cameras and microphones would say to her to put on their show and like stuff you would never say to a person in real life.
Let alone like
Uh,
how old was she? Like 17?
yeah, yeah, when she started, yeah. And, it just continued throughout her formative years. Um, yeah,
Oh
I really
God.
felt, when I came away from watching that, it was just like, I don't know how anyone lives with that. How do you live with people banging on your car when you're trying to drive away? Like, I would be scared if that happened to me. If someone started banging on my car like that. I don't know.
No, I've been thinking about that, like just fame. That's so scary to me. I mean, I've always told my friends like, okay, if I'm meant to be famous, then obviously that was like put in. I'm a person that believes that like everything happens for a reason. So, if that happens to me, then it's, has got to have been for a reason. But A, I honestly don't really see that happening, at least not on that grand scale. And B, I do not want that to happen. I would like to make music. I would like to gig to like a solid audience. And then the next morning I would like to be able to go to the grocery store without a bodyguard, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Like that I would love that. um, but that's so I saw a couple interviews of the Britney thing in particular, and like yeah, people just think that they're entitled to everything about a person's like I guess life.
Yeah.
Um and it's, even things where she was just like so obviously so uncomfortable. Like I just felt for her. I
Mhm.
still feel for her,
Yeah.
I hope that they're using um maybe the money or like the exposure or whatever that comes out of this documentary to help her.
Yeah. And I think it's maybe like as a culture, we need to like rethink our celebrity culture. I was
Yes.
right around the same time I watched one about Tiger Woods too. And
Yeah.
the you know he was another person, like, you just can't go anywhere without everyone knowing you. And
Mm-hmm.
after some of like the things that happened in his life, the less glorious things that he went through, but the things like they would say to him, the things they'd say to like his wife, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was like I like you can't say that to like a regular person on the street without expecting some sort of consequence.
Exactly. So like, yeah. So why would you expect?
Yeah.
Like they're just humans, They just happen to be really good at something that people celebrate,
Hmm.
And I guess that's literally why they're calling it celebrity. But like, yeah, I really think that people are starting to like rethink celebrity culture like lately with, like cancel culture, which I personally have like, I mean, I don't think that's perfect either. But like, I think people are just realizing, oh, celebrities are human beings and sometimes they mess up or sometimes they go through things. And maybe we shouldn't put them on this God pedestal because they're
Yeah.
good at singing? Like
Right.
maybe we shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
Yeah, especially when, so much of their life is like a Britney Spears, Tiger Woods, their entire life is dedicated to their craft. So they really missed a lot
Yeah.
of living childhood, just playing with your friends and things. Um, that
I
probably teach us all a lot about life and just, yeah,
Yeah, like I feel I yeah. No, sorry. I was just gonna say like I
yeah.
I feel for like, the Britneys, like the Demis, like the people that have just like lost their childhood essentially to fame.
Hmm.
These people were on camera for like as little as like 6, some of them.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I would hate that if that was on record for me.
no,
You know,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and it took me a long time to get where I am, and I know that if
Mhm.
I had footage of myself lying around from as a younger person, I'd probably be ashamed, embarrassed, and you know, all of that stuff.
Mhm.
But it is kind of cool how now I think you are seeing like some people like taking more control over their public persona through their social media because you don't need to
Yes.
rely on
Yeah.
all of these other outlets to get your message out.
No, that's a very good point. People um do have definitely more control than they did back then.
Mm.
Um and like like I definitely grew up in the age of like social media, so I can't really say like, oh, like I remember when, it was only this that, but I do know, that that was the only time that people could like show people that they were human was just like through like the occasional like magazine or TV interview or stuff like that.
Yeah,
And I can't imagine how frustrating that must have been.
right. Yeah. Hopefully we're in for a change. I think that's
Mhm.
one nice thing is we can kind of look back and correct our ways and figure things out a little bit. And it's nice that people are kind of like waking up to that, saying like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
maybe anyone that went through that would have a hard time. So,
Yeah. Like just cuz
yeah.
just cuz you make good music doesn't mean you're just like, "Up, I can survive anything." Like
Hmm.
no.
Yeah.
It's crazy honestly to think about really.
And it's like a funny thing now, like as a musician, it is nice that you have that control, but now you also have to, you don't just get to be the musician, right? Like you have to be like your own social media person. Maybe you're a web designer, maybe you're now an art director, photographer.
Yeah, you got to do it all. Some people genuinely enjoy that though.
Hmm.
Like I know people that like they sing, they write, they produce, like they make their own music videos, like they do everything. And I think that's how they want it versus like some people that are like doing all that and they're like, okay, like I'm forcing myself to do this until like I get enough traction in a team and all that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, it's definitely like a blessing or a curse, like depending on like how you see it.
Hmm. Right. So I get the impression from, investigating what you're up to. You seem to do a lot of collaboration and you like to work with other people. And
I do.
um, Do you have any thoughts on that? Any like so uh, something I made a little mental note of was you saying how I think you kind of alluded to like, just because they listen to one artist doesn't mean they can't listen to you. Sometimes music, anything gets competitive, right? But
Oh yeah.
I do think that in music, it's always good to make those connections and collaborate and work with other people. I guess maybe I just wanted to ask you some of your thoughts. Like, when do you turn to collaborators? What kind of people do you like to work with?
So I was never a collaborator, honestly. Like I've been writing, well, technically I've been writing since I was little, but I don't really consider those songs. They were like the songs I wrote when I was like 10 years old are just not going to see the light of day, right? But
Yeah, but
like,
that's you go through that. I think if I may go off on this little
no,
tangent,
you're fine. Go
um,
off. Yeah, you're
you
fine.
know, like that stuff I think is really helpful because a lot of people that start a little bit later in life are really like concerned with it being good and worthy of pursuing. Like, is this cheesy? Is this whatever? You think all these thoughts, but when you're a kid, you don't, and
Mm,
it's so important to go through that, like not worrying about it, just so you can get through the process, the
yeah.
stages of it. So even if I don't know what your songs were like when you were 10 years old, but if they're like 10-year-old problems,
Yeah.
like still like you went through that exercise of trying to make something.
Yeah, like just expressing whatever I was going through as a little 10-year-old, you know? Um, yeah, no, you're right. I never really thought about it that way. But like I think that like most musicians and artists are just like perfectionists, like, to the point where sometimes we can just rob ourselves of the joy that comes with like the thing that we chose, you know?
Mm,
And I think that's something that I definitely need to watch for sometimes, and most people do too. And so I think that's a really good reminder for sure.
mm.
Um, yeah, but collaborations. I I always wrote things by myself. Um, I think mostly just because like I didn't really like in high school, I didn't really know of a lot of other people. Like I did like theater and stuff when I was in high school, but like I didn't know anybody else that was like writing songs or just like making songs. Like I knew friends that like wanted to be singers, but they weren't like writing anything. So I, was just kind of by
Mm.
myself, and I didn't really hate it or anything. And I still, like to write by myself. Like I like to write and finish songs by myself. Um, but like when I went to music school, um, and I just got to meet all these really cool people that just like were influenced by either similar or like different artists than I was. Like, I don't know. I just, I'm like, oh, like you're a cool person. I like being around you and I like what you make. So let's do something together. I don't know. Um, and yeah, again, I never was like that. I think it was just because I just wasn't exposed to like, I guess the right people, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I have this one friend. His name's Brady. He goes by Birds. He produces things. And he like we just became best friends in school. And then, when he was like just really trying his hand in production, I was like, oh, you should just like test yourself out on my music. And
Nice.
and then from there, like we just kind of like do a lot of things together. Like we have a collaboration project coming out with like a bunch of our other friends too, like, different rappers from the area, from outside the area that we've just like made our connections through, just by going to different like gigs and stuff. Which again, RIP gigging for now. But like, um, yeah, I honestly think for me, it just comes down to like, okay, do I like you as a person? A, and B, do we make things that we both connect with,
Mm.
you know?
That's a good point. It's good to be a likable person in this,
Yeah.
um, because this is a very kind of sensitive thing. You're kind of opening your soul a bit and like letting people into your life and your creativity and your art. So you do
Yeah.
need, I find like, I do that connection is almost like a prerequisite before I
Oh,
can
for
get into it.
sure. Like if you're talented. Like if you could be like a child prodigy, but if you're a jerk, then like no,
Yeah.
you know? Because we're not going to get anything done. Like I'm not going to be inspired and then it's just going to be like for nothing, honestly. And also I don't like I'm just not going to let you into like my energy, like no. But like yeah, no, I think that's really really important thing. And like I also just think it's really just beautiful. Like I think like part of the like beauty and joy of like being a creative person is like meeting other creative people and like talking to them and seeing their input on life and like how they view things because I just really I honestly love that. Like I mean, if I finish a song by myself, I will usually take it to somebody else to either produce entirely or finish production that I've started. If I want a visual, I am not talented in the way of visual things, so I will always go to somebody else. And I just love like my friend that made the music video for Lukewarm, when I sent her the song and I had a slight idea of what I wanted it to be about, and she was like, "Oh, this is what I see. This is the storyboard I made. Like, this is what I think of, you know?" And I just love that. Like, I love, like, just seeing what little gears turn in other creative people's minds from the original gears that turned in mine when I wrote the song, you know? So, yeah, I love collaboration. Like, I've really grown to just absolutely love it, honestly.
Yeah, it takes it into something bigger too, because now,
Yeah.
you've got that great video that like tells the story of a couple. Like, it's not a terrible relationship, but it's fizzled a little, and you've got the metaphor comparing it to like coffee that's not that warm. It's not terrible, but you know,
You could do something better, you know? I'll drink this, but I want something better.
yeah,
And that's what I wanted to portray. So
yeah, and it's nice that visual accompaniment helps pull that out.
oh,
That's the
yeah,
power
thank
of
you.
collaboration. And I think you also said like, meeting people like at music school that's one of the best parts about going to, whether it's music school or whether it's going out to play at open mics or just get involved in like community forums online with other
Yeah.
musicians, like-minded people. That is important. And it's kind of funny, I guess, if you think about it, because it really used to be like a long, long time ago before recorded music. The only way it was done was with people in communities and playing together.
Yeah.
It's gotten so solitary
Yeah.
now where you can do everything all by yourself.
Yeah. And I think that's honestly kind of like sad. I mean, it's cool that we see these people that are like, jack of all trades, right? They're like, I can do literally everything by myself. And people applaud that. And I think there's something like really impressive about that for sure. But in my opinion, I think it just robs you of like a big part of just like living as a creative if you're just like being creative only by yourself, you know?
Yeah, the point is kind of to share it on some level.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why record it, right? I
No,
guess you
exactly.
can sit around and
You
listen to
know?
it yourself and not let anyone else hear it.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure there are a lot of people that do that, because of, like fear or what have you. But yeah, no. Or just like people that like make things and they release them to like a fan base and then they just turn down everybody that wants to like do something with them. Like, I don't know. Like everybody has their own preferences for sure. And like music is very personal and, very, you can be very protective of it. Like I completely understand that. But I don't know. Like we all gotta let our guard down a little bit sometimes, once you feel it out and if it feels right, then like I think it's kind of crucial to learn how to do that.
Yeah, good point.
Hmm.
So what is your songwriting process like? Do you have a process even? Like when it's time, when you feel it, or do you go by a schedule? How does it kind of work for you?
Uh yeah, I don't really have I feel like I should get more into a process. um but yeah, like I'll tell you, like, to be transparent, like most of my songwriting comes when something happens in my life. Like I'll have dry spells because my life is boring, and then if something happens, whether it be like a new relationship or a heartbreak or like just anything that's just like outlandish or weird or like whatever, then I'll write like sometimes like 7 songs at a time. Like it depends, but like and usually when that happens, like if it's like experience driven, I will always write the words first because I'll have to just write down like what I'm feeling in that moment, and then I'll come back and like I'll put it to music. And so yeah, for me like the words tend to come first on certain things, but I'm trying to get more into like writing grooves by themselves, or like thinking of different melody lines and coming up with that, and then like finding words that like, you know, come with that. Like my friend that I mentioned earlier, you know, he'll send me like beats, and I never worked with beats before 2020. Like I was just like how do I do this? Like okay, like he's like, you just write over it, and I'm like, okay,
That's it.
what do I talk about? Like because I'm so acoustic based, right? Like I just like I write the words and then I grab my guitar and then I like write down the chords, and then, you know, but I'm trying to get more used to that because like I know like a lot of people are doing that, and I, you know, like I mean, I'm not trying to like get into it just because everybody's like doing it, but I think that it's just like a really, really good like necessary tool to have, honestly. So yeah, that's one way of writing that I'm trying to get more into, but my songwriting process for the most part varies, but you know, like I do typically like write the words first, and then I go back and I'm like, okay, like how does this work sonically, you know? Yeah.
Are you writing them like melodies, like you're singing them, or is it just more like straight up poetry, pen and
No,
paper?
a lot of them is just straight up poetry. Like sometimes I like write well, okay. Like I'll write certain things, and I, you know, sometimes I try and make things rhyme, you know. Like I have like little either melodic or rhythmic ideas in my head as I am writing things typically. And that's what helps me like put things to music. Like, you know, I'll draw from like different like rhythms of like artists that, you know, I've listened to over the years. And I will write like my feelings out to like a rhythmic idea. So it is poetry, but it's yeah, it's not like straight up poetry. It's like, okay, these are words and let me format it, you know, in a way that I think would make sense with the vibe that I'm trying to go for. Everything just kind of happens at once in my brain. Like, you know, like like I don't really like write the words by themselves, like purely, you know. I write the words with like some music ideas already in mind so that I can like format it to that, and then yeah, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense because although I do think of lyrics like poetry, but at the
Mhm.
same time, they're really more meant to be heard than read.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and therefore, especially you have to sort of like fit them in rhythmically and melodically. So a lot of times if I do write first, I then I'm trying to squeeze things together, squeeze it in, and I wind up having to change it a lot usually.
Mhm.
Um, so for me, I'm finding more and more my best way is to just sort of kind of like blabber, scat almost, gibberish
Yeah.
until I
Yeah,
find a
no.
phrase. And sometimes when you get in that phrase, that mindset where you're just kind of letting stuff fly out of your face, you know, like you say things that come like almost out of the subconscious. And a lot of times that'll be the thing I grab onto. Um, and it
Mhm.
helps guide me a little. But or and I guess this is maybe similar is sometimes I'll actually have like a song in my head and I'm kind of like making up my own words to the song and just using that structure to just get it out a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's actually so I took a songwriting course when I was in music school. It was like my favorite class. Like I loved it. But I remember one of the assignments being like, okay, listen to a popular song or just a song you like and try and like rewrite the melody. And I was like, what? But I think like exercises like that are just really, really good for like strengthening yourself as a songwriter for sure, because you're like, okay, these are chords, but there's like infinite melody combinations that can happen over these things. So, let's explore them, Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I sometimes like to do that on a song the first time I hear it, like before the singer comes in, just kind of hum a melody or something over it, and just to see like where I went with it compared to where it actually goes.
Mhm.
And you're right. And that can be kind of scary, I think, too, that there are just unlimited directions you can go. Do you start singing on the one? Do you wait? Do you start on the root note? Do you go high? Is it upward motion, downward motion? There's, it makes it
Yeah.
sometimes hard to commit, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Like something that I found and like okay, my friend the other day pointed out to me, like I went over to his house, like safely for a session the other day, and he was like, "Kiana, you know what I realized?" And I was like, "What?" And he like showed me a song of mine that's out, and he showed me a song that we're like in the process of working on, and he showed me a couple other things, and he showed me like a pattern that I do in like writing.
Mm.
Like it was just a certain pattern that I guess I gravitated towards. And he was like, "I just think that's cool." But I was like, "Does this mean I'm not creative?" And he was like, "No, no, 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 no." um, and I don't think there's anything like I thought about that for a bit. Like I sat in that because I didn't realize that I like did that certain pattern. And I don't think it's like a bad thing to like have a certain like marker of your songwriting that's like uniquely you, because it's a way that people can tell like, okay, like like Kiana wrote this or Brian wrote this, like, you know what I mean?
Mm.
But at the same time, I don't know. Like I feel like I'm just so caught up in like making sure that like things are varied and none of my songs like sound too similar. Like they're gonna sound similar. The more that I write, like it's impossible for like songs to sound dramatically different. But like, I don't want them to sound like too similar. So I was thinking like, okay, like I usually like start really low in the verses. The verses are low energy, and the choruses, like I take my pitch up higher, and they're like that. What if I switched it up? Like maybe I could like start with this. There's so many different combinations. Like what if
Mm.
I started with the chorus? Like what if and so yeah. There's just so many different ways you can like structure a song, and I think it's important to just like really like explore those ways so that you know people aren't like, wow, like this song sounds exactly like this song. But at the same time, you shouldn't, I don't know. Maybe you want to have songs be dramatically different. And if you want to do that, then like that's your right as an artist. But yeah, I think it's important to just explore different things for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely like a weird fine line where
Yeah.
people want you to sound like you because they like you,
Yeah.
but you can't just put out the same thing every single time
Ex-
either.
exactly. It's such a wild line. I actually put a poll on my Instagram story the other day because I was thinking about this so much. Like, I was like, do you guys generally like when artists explore a bunch of different sounds, or do you want them to stick to one sound? And most people voted that they liked versatility. And I was thinking like, okay, like, I agree, but like, I feel like some people kind of criticize artists for like quote unquote not finding their sound yet.
Yeah.
And I don't know if like there's a difference between like not finding your sound or just genuinely not wanting to stay in a sound.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think it's a bad thing to like dramatically branch out, honestly, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah. That's an interesting result you got with that poll. I almost feel like I don't believe it. Like, no, I mean, like I believe you, but like I think like people say they want that, but then as soon as it changes, it's like, hey, you're supposed to be doing this thing, and that's not
Honestly,
your area.
yeah, no, you're right. I think it's interesting to see because I asked that out of curiosity, but I also asked it because like I was kind of testing the waters. I was like, okay, like are you gonna stay with me when I branch out? Because I'm definitely gonna branch out, guys. Like I'm definitely gonna like all the songs that I've like lined up right now, like none of them are like like super similar. Nothing's like too crazy. Like I'm not like screaming or doing country or anything, but like they're all like pretty different. And like I don't know. I'm gonna hold them to that. You're
Hmm.
right. I don't know if I believe it either, but
Well, I think there is like kind of a good thing about doing a little variety, like especially in like the earlier stages of your career,
yeah, for
um,
sure.
because then people just sort of expect that from you now. It's like, oh, you never know what Kiana's gonna do. Like she's, she does this track, and then this comes out. I think that's a cool, like, kind of like precedent to set for people. But on the other
Mhm.
hand, like you are also right in that like people kind of want to know like this is the thing you're doing, because it like defines us as an artist. This is the thing that you're into. Oh, you should check out the artist. They're doing this. Instead of like, you
Yeah.
should check out this artist and I don't they do everything. Who knows what's going on?
Yeah. No, you're right. I find with artists like that though, like sometimes they'll be like, "Hey, you should check out this artist. You like this, so you'll like this specific project." Um, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like at the same time, if somebody like gets into that project and then that artist like never makes something that sounds like that project again, then like they're probably gonna lose interest, right?
Hmm.
So it's definitely like a fine line for sure. And I think about these artists like the greats like Michael Jackson, Prince, people, David Bowie, like people that like you there's no way you could fit them in a genre box. Like there's no way,
Yeah.
right? Um and I don't know. I think that they made it work. I guess it's because they got to that level of stardom first. I don't know.
Mm.
I think there's
Yeah.
definitely a way to make it work, but it's just hard, you know?
Yeah. All of those that you mentioned have done some serious like reinvention along the
Mhm.
way, where it turned out, I think, to be the thing that made them so amazing. I mean, if Michael Jackson never broke out of the Jackson 5, he probably could have had like a pretty awesome career for a long time
Mhm.
doing that. They were super successful. And for them to like sort of take the chance to let's let Michael Jackson off the hook here and see what he can do, was I don't know. Maybe Michael Jackson is such an obvious talent that that's a bad example, but
Yeah, I think he's a yeah, no, he definitely is a bad example.
but
I'm
I
trying to
could
think.
understand people saying like, "No, Michael Jackson, like come on. Look what you got here. This is amazing. Like no one gets this level of stardom. Like this is such a rare thing." So,
He was a whole other level of famous. I don't know if you've seen that video of him just standing out in a hotel balcony. That's just before internet, before anything. Pure word of mouth. Like that street was like terrifyingly packed.
yeah.
You know, like he was. Yeah, he was something else.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. That was a different level. I mean, always if you watch any of his concert footage, there's like
Yeah.
a team of people just pulling out people that pass out of just pure excitement of seeing him,
Mhm.
which I can kind of understand
Yeah.
when you see him. Hmm.
Jeez. It's crazy.
Yeah, but I think the risks though, there's still a risk, it's always easier to stay with what's working. Those risks are the things that really propel them to just that other level,
Mhm.
where
I
they'll be
agree.
talked about forever.
I think like I think that a huge part of like being successful in the music industry is taking risks. You
Mm.
know, when it comes to your genre, when it comes, financial risks when it comes to people that want to take you further, like it's just like if you can't take risks, then yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's like pretty crucial, you
Yeah,
know.
because pretty much every movement, genre, or fad, even like that has happened,
Mhm.
has this like burnout period where suddenly
Yeah.
um, people are all against it. They just don't want anything to do with it anymore. They've had enough.
Mhm.
Because it's the nature of the industry to just put out that hot thing until it's not hot anymore,
Mhm.
until no one wants to hear it. Just milk it for what it's worth. As a business, it makes sense if the demand is there. But I think if you want that longevity, yeah, that's a good point.
Mhm.
Hmm. So, Kiana, what's going on next for you? Not to take away from this, celebration of your latest single, which we'll have everyone check. I'm going to put this in the show notes to check out Lukewarm. And also like your Instagrams, and I'll put TikTok in there, even though I haven't seen it. But,
Um,
you seem to really be like trying to make some moves here. What's going on next?
um, so um, actually, my friend that I mentioned and I we're releasing a little collab project. They're just like really, like fun carefree songs that we made um over quarantine and well, not like quarantine, but like like
The last
May-ish.
year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the last year.
Yeah.
Um and we just collab with a bunch of people. So like we have a song coming out on the 12th, actually March 12th, that features like a rapper of that's a friend of ours. And yeah, so we have like a little collaboration EP coming out. But I also have the EP coming out that Lukewarm is from late April.
Okay. Nice.
So and that's like a whole other different, type of style. But um so those are the immediate things I have in the future, and I'm really, really excited for both.
What's the name of the projects? I'm like you said, March 12th was the
So
collab again.
March 12th, we're releasing a song called Trust, uh, and that's part of our collaboration EP, which is being named Blue Jay, and then it's because he goes by Birds, so like Blue Jay. We just thought it'd be fun. And then my EP that Lukewarm is from, that's coming out in late April, is called Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it. That sounds like it connects with the ideas in Lukewarm a little bit.
Oh, well, I'm glad. Yeah, I named it that because the first song on the EP, it ends with, well, I shouldn't go into it. I won't go into it, but yeah.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
you'll keep
You have
us
to
in
listen to
suspense.
it.
Nice. Well, that's cool. Um, yeah, so let's see. Where do you like to send people most to check out your stuff? Like, no,
Definitely Instagram right now. Um, that's where I'm most active. So yeah,
mhm,
Instagram. My Instagram is just Kiana Corley Music.
right. Cool. And you've got kianacorley.com
Also
and
my Spotify, but yeah, I
Spotify.
mean my
Yeah.
Spotify is like linked to my Instagram. So
Yeah. Nice. We'll send people there to check it out. And I think um, they should definitely check out that Instagram, and just to see like a nice example of you letting people into the artist's life and the world. I mean, it's such a cool way to get the music out there by like sharing who you are, and it becomes like you feel like you know the artist a little more. I think you're doing a nice job with that.
oh well, thank you so much. Yeah, I really, again, I think that's really important to just make people know that we're human beings. So
Yeah.
thank seriously, thank you.
Yeah. My pleasure. Thank you for taking the time to talk.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
All right.
And thank you to everyone listening. I hope you all have a good day. Go to Kiana's Instagram, Kiana Corley Music, and check it out. And let her know you're enjoying what she's doing. All right. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.